It was simply an opportunity. I like to call it a lateral move in corporate America. I did what was best for myself.
I understand that. Well, I'm just getting. Well, all I was saying was I think there are different situations. Now, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm also saying, in addition to that type of scenario, that women sometimes can contribute to a man stepping out. That's all I'm saying.
I never put
that don't. But see, I want to let Carrie go too. But see, that's the difference, is because that's a weak guy, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that that's a weak guy is because the reason that I don't cheat, for example, has nothing to do with the girl that I'm with or the fact that I'm married. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with me. I'm too good for it. Like, I don't feel like it's anybody that's valuable enough to even get in my space enough to actually have that conversation. And so when women are vetting for guys that they want to be with or dudes that they want to get married to, it's not a matter of whether or not you're valuable enough or you're not valuable enough for him to cheat on. Is whether or not he values himself to be above and beyond, and his purpose is much greater than subjecting himself to somebody that he don't feel is worth his time. And so when y'all looking for these guys or you're trying to hold them accountable, you can't look for it based off of something that you are providing or you're not providing. You have to do it based off, because if I was single, I wouldn't feel like these people is worthy of me having a conversation with them, or some of these girls could even get in my presence. I'm the same way either way. I would never let a woman get in front of my bag. I would never let a woman throw me off my purpose. I would never let a woman get in the way of what it is that I have as far as being a representation of what I would want my daughter to marry. I'm that way whether I'm married or whether I'm single, right? I'm going to move with intention and purpose no matter what. So when y'all vetting these guys and y'all trying to understand whether or not they marriage material, the question that I then have is, are y'all trying to change a guy that's inherently already, because most of the time y'all know who y'all getting in a relationship with. You know whether or not he a fuckboy or not. You know if he was a thug and then you tried to change him into a thug with a suit before you got with him. And then y'all try to act like y'all don't understand what it is that's going on. Like this is some kind of revelation when y'all got so much insight. Y'all so smart. Y'all able to tell whether or not a dude want to fuck you the first time that he meets you, but then you can't figure out whether or not this is the type of dude that will really hold you down in a marriage or a relationship. So my thing is y'all know the dudes that y'all supposed to be with. Half of the time, you don't want the guy that's actually the stand-up dude for you, but you want to hold accountable the dude that you're not supposed to be with, that you decided to get with anyway, and then you put him in a position to where you felt like you gave him an ultimatum in order to marry you. That's the real truth. If we want to talk about being proactive, let's talk about choosing better, because when you put yourself in a position to where you then have to hold the dude accountable based off of something that you already knew that he was when you first got with him, then we start to have a little bit of a problem when we start to have it. We already behind the 8 ball before you ever even say I do at the altar. And so I think that women know who they're supposed to marry. They choose who it is that they prefer to be with. And then they act surprised when a dude go out and do something that they already knew that he was doing. And even when a dude is cheating, most of y'all already know that he's doing something that he's not supposed to do before he do it. You already see it. Y'all smart as hell, but then all of a sudden y'all don't understand it.
That's the Lois Lane Superman effect. Lois Lane wanted Clark Kent to be more like Superman, but wanted Superman to be more like Clark Kent, when you could have just been with Clark Kent the whole fucking time.
Most women know. And Carrie, you can rock out. For most women, they already passed up on the guy that they were supposed to be with. He was loyal. He loved her. He was the nerd. He probably was. They know, and they probably
go back, sis.
And they wasn't checking for him. And if you look back in her past, and if she go back in her mental Rolodex, it was a dude that she know for a fact would have loved her draws, would have loved her mother draws, and would have never ever did anything to cheat on her whatsoever. But she passed up on him in order to roll with the thug that they wanted to then put on the suit and then get him a job in order to fix him up and make sure that he's the dude that he's supposed to be. Come on, man. Let's be for real. Like, if we gonna have this conversation in authenticity, then let's keep it 100.
Oh, Lord of mercy. Go, Carrie.
Hey, everybody. I agree. If we're going to be honest about this conversation, we have to be honest on both ends. And I will say that it sounds like a lot of ownership is being placed on the woman for the cheating, for the lack of communication, for the man not feeling comfortable enough. And just as much as we know what kind of man we marry, y'all know what kind of woman you marry. So if you didn't feel comfortable communicating to your woman before you asked her to marry her, then to expect that you would feel comfortable after, I think to your point, Anton, that's insane, right? So to me, I do agree with what you were saying, Jasmine. I think that anything in your relationship before you get married or like in the honeymoon stage that changes, that throws the relationship off, now at this phase, almost 11 years into a marriage, I now can say I believe both parties need to take some level of accountability for. But I also think that in order for you to take accountability and hold one another accountable, you have to be responsible for being able to communicate for yourself.
You can't hold me accountable.
I can't hold you accountable.
Listen, it ain't a woman in the world, whether you're my wife or not, that can truly hold me accountable. That's just
your wife can't hold you accountable.
How can
she? You can have a consequence, and
I can hold
What's
you
the consequence? What's the consequence?
Accountable to what you promised.
No. Let's keep it one. No. Let's be 100. Let's keep it 100. How can any woman hold a man accountable?
They can't.
Okay. I can remind you. And I can remind you of the things that you promised in hopes that you hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, you can make a suggestion.
Okay, well, that's a different conversation. But see, when you talk about holding me accountable, you can't hold me accountable. Ain't nobody in the world that can hold me accountable.
So what does that mean?
That means that you don't really have no say so. The only power that you really have is the power that we enable for you to have in a relationship.
You can basically give them a reminder.
When you get
it goes both ways.
It doesn't go both ways. I can hold you accountable because there's consequence. Listen, overwhelmingly, women that get divorced from men, ultimately, and this is a fact, like this is a scientific, data-driven fact, that women that get divorced from men overwhelmingly suffer. They suffer way more when it comes to it. This is just a fact. This ain't my feelings. They suffer way more, and their life is much worse as a result of getting divorced than men that ultimately. It's not a lie. You can look it up. Men that divorce, eventually they recover and they do much better. Women that get divorced, they suffer.
But women are leading in the ones that are initiating the divorces these days. It
doesn't matter. Either way, in any divorce, women inherently suffer more than men.
This is a scare tactic to stay in a suffering ass situation.
Men suffer initially, but men eventually do way better.